Superclusters and voids. So we saw that galaxies like to group together in clusters, and it turns out that even clusters like to group together, and this creates what's called the large-scale structure of the universe. And so superclusters and voids represent really the two main components of this large scale. The person who discovered this is this lady, Margaret Geller, and she started off just making a three-dimensional map of the universe, which that in of itself is pretty ambitious. But her expectation was that galaxies would be evenly distributed. And what she discovered was they aren't. And that was surprising. So she discovered the structure of the universe. So all the white dots you see here are galaxies. And this structure is called a supercluster. So we can think of that as a cluster of galaxy clusters. And so places where you see a lot of galaxies, right in here, that structure, this structure right here, this one here, all of these are superclusters, these places where things are very much grouped together is supercluster structure. Now the voids are where few galaxies are. And so here we see some voids. So basically the superclusters are grouped around the voids. And so it's thought that the voids are essentially like bubbles with superclusters on their surface. And the way I picture our universe is that it's like a Swiss cheese. So the cheese is the supercluster, and then of course the holes in the Swiss cheese are where the voids are. So if you think of a brick of Swiss cheese, you've got bubbles in there. Those are the voids, and surrounding those bubbles is where all of the cheese is. So that's where all the galaxies are found. When we talk about the expansion of the universe, most of that is in the voids. Because when the universe expands, it needs to expand where there is not much gravity. And so, basically where there are few or no galaxies. And by definition then, that is the voids. Now voids only apply on this very large scale. So yes, there's empty space between us and the Andromeda galaxy, but we are all in one cluster. So here we're looking at much larger scale between clusters, this empty space. So that is how our universe is put together. Our universe is not smoothly distributed, but instead we see galaxies grouping together, and then we see places where galaxies essentially don't exist at all. And that is what our universe looks like.